What's going on, and welcome back. As you can see, we are back in Coyote Ugly. I am downloading version 2 of the tune from OZ Tuning. Just got it, I believe, yesterday. And we're going to install that. I'm not going to bore you with downloading the tune, all that stuff. And I probably won't record the datalog run. But what I want to do is I'm going to try to do a screen recording of going through the datalog and show you guys what I'm seeing as far as the lean condition and what indicators show that. So hopefully I'll be able to do that on the PC and bring it to you. But we're right now downloading this tune, so I'm hoping I can make a datalog. There's a chance of rain, so right now it's not raining, but we'll see. If I get the datalog done today, I'm going to try to do the screen recording and go through that and get this out to you guys so you can kind of see what I'm looking at and see what's going on and what it takes to fine tune these cars and get them to run right when you're having issues. So stick around and we'll get this tune loaded and get that datalog run done. Alright, so I did get the datalog run done, and I'm going to show you guys the difference between the last datalog I did and the newest one. So right now I'm on the last one, and what I want to do is let me highlight RPM. And okay, so a quick explanation. I'm going to try to explain this quickly. Basically, if you see at the top here, if you see where my cursor is, the Lamsey Bank 1 0.85, basically that is the air-fuel ratio that is being commanded. And so at the same time, if you look down here at the measured air-fuel ratio, Bank 1 and Bank 2, it says 0.98 for Bank 1, 0.96 for Bank 2. This is actually what your O2 sensors are reading. So it's calling for 0.85 and it's actually reading 0.98. From what I understand, the lower the number, the richer or more fuel it is. So at 0.85 is going to be richer than 0.98. So actually 0.98, 0.96 would be considered pretty lean. But that's at the very beginning of the pull at 4266 RPM. If you see, I start the pull right around here at about 19 to 2000 RPM. Well, actually, sorry about that. Right about here, about 2380, and give it full throttle. And as you watch, if you watch the air-fuel ratio, Bank 1 and Bank 2, you'll see that number drop and hopefully get closer to the 0.85. But you see the lowest they get, well, it dips down to 0.85. Well, actually, I let off there. Sorry, let me go back here. Okay, so 6393, I lost it. 6393 is the highest RPM that I got to. They wanted a 2000 to 6000 RPM pull. So roughly 6400 RPM. It is calling for 0.85 air fuel, and at that particular RPM it is reading 0.88 and 0.87. Now also, I'm not sure if I'll be able to leave my cursor there. And moved it a little bit. Alright, so leaving it there, let me move it around. So if you'll look at the short-term fuel trim Bank 1, short-term fuel trim Bank 2 here at the bottom, and also the long-term fuel trim Bank 1 here. Long-term fuel trim is basically the average or an average taken from the short term over, I believe, a particular RPM range. If anybody knows more than I do, please correct me on any of this stuff. I'm really new to trying to read these logs, so if I get any of this information incorrect, please correct me. but I do know that it is the average of the short-term fuel trim, saves it in memory, and tells it how much fuel to give it at a particular RPM or range, I believe. Okay, so our long term at roughly 6,400 RPM, our long term is 1, and our short term on bank 1 is 1.2. Short term on bank 2 is 1.18. Now, what I understand from the short term is the number after the decimal, I believe, is the percentage. So in this case here, 6,400 RPM, it's calling for, or is trying to give, 20% more fuel on bank 1, 18% more fuel on bank 2 to try to get to that 0.85 air-fuel ratio target. So, with all that being said, now this is the previous log. This one was actually better than the one I had done before this one. It had gotten, the short term had gotten up to, I want to say, like 1.23 with OZ tune. My previous tune from the other tuner, I was seeing up to 1.27, which is trying to add a ton of fuel. So if we're looking at this log, this is the previous to the one I just did. It's adding, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's adding 20% on bank 1 and 18% on bank 2. And that's still quite a bit of fuel. It still indicates a lean condition. The measured air-fuel ratio, it's a higher number, so that means it's leaner than the target of 0.85. So that, from what I understand, indicates a lean condition. This log was actually an improvement over the previous. So that's how that one went. And that was before, no, I'm sorry, that was after I corrected the fuel line issue, the fuel lines, the fuel filter, and reset the regulator with the vacuum line disconnected, changed the fuel pump sock, all that good stuff in my previous video. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a card up. You can go back and check that out and then come back to this one and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So this log was done after all those issues were corrected, and this was on the version 1 tune. So this log was sent in to OZ. They sent me back version 2, the version 2 tune. So did the data log tonight, and now I will show you that one. If I can get it to come up. And this one here. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll try to compare it at the same RPM. This one, they wanted me to run it up to 7,000. If you look right here, I pulled a max of 7,042 RPM. So let's take it down to about 6,400 RPM so we can kind of compare apples to apples here. So 60, hey geez. Right. 63.74, so roughly 6,400 RPM. Okay, now if we look at the same numbers, now if you look at the Lamsey Bank 1, again, it's calling for 0.85. That's the air-fuel ratio. And if you look at the measured air-fuel ratio, Bank 1, we're at 0.86. Air-fuel ratio, Bank 2, we're at 0.85. So that's almost dead on target, which is awesome. So definite improvement with this version 2 or revised tune that I just put in. And now we will look at the short-term fuel trim for Bank 1 and Bank 2. And if you look, we're reading 1.06 on Bank 1 and 1.05 on Bank 2. Now that is a tremendous improvement from the previous log, which we saw. Let me go back. And let me get back to that RPM. So right here at 63.77, we're seeing 1.19 and 1.18, bank 1, bank 2 respectively. That was on the old log. Back to the new log. And we're seeing 1.06 and 1.05. That is a tremendous improvement from what I understand in how they read these logs. Now, I know there's more to it, so don't quote me on all this stuff. I'm still learning, but everybody that I've talked to, these are the things that they look at to kind of give them an idea of what the car is doing or what the engine's doing. I did also notice that the mass air flow rate, so if you look here in pounds per minute, on this log is almost 46 pounds per minute. If we go back to the other log, or the old one, you'll see that it is 38.84. That is a definite improvement. I'm assuming maybe that's valve timing. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure about that. I don't know what to say. How that improves, your mass airflow. The only thing I could think is maybe the valves are opening further, longer. I'm not sure. That's all OZ or any tuner. That's all them. I'm not sure. But anyway, so we are definitely seeing a huge improvement that I can tell with this new tune, the version 2 or revision 2. I did send it off to OZ so that they can review it. Hopefully they'll review it within the next couple of days, and from what I can tell, it's looking pretty good. I'm not sure if they will make any other revisions, because this is the best that the engine has looked as far as the data logs since I've had the car running and tuned. My original tuner, the logs looked terrible. I told you about the what the air fuel ratio it's calling for, what it's actually reading in the short term, and like I said, it was trying to add so much fuel. So a definite improvement, and I just wanted to show you guys what I'm looking at, what the tuner looks at, when they try to figure out what's going on with the engine. And I think we have definitely seen an improvement for Coyote Ugly. Hopefully they'll say, this is spot on tune. If they don't, maybe they'll send me another quick revision. I don't know. But we are getting closer to getting this car running right, and hopefully I'll be able to make that race this month. Still need to find some tires, but anyway, wanted to show you guys the log, show you what I'm looking at, so you can see, what kind of work and what kind of patience and being able to understand these logs, what goes into tuning a car and getting it running optimally. So, but that's where I'm at. So anyway, hopefully Coyote Ugly is straight. Coyote Ugly is running good. It pulled strong. We'll see what they say. It's up to OZ now to review it and let me know. All right, so I hope that explanation was beneficial to anybody that's curious about what your tuner goes through, what he looks for in these logs, and what you can look for in the logs to kind of get an idea of what your car, your engine, and whatnot, what it's doing and how it's running. So hopefully we've got Coyote Ugly running good. It seems good to me, but we'll see what OZ says. They have the final say in it to let me know. So, but hopefully we're good. But anyway, I hope you found this video informative, and I hope I helped anybody out that's kind of curious about data logs and how all that works. But if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do that, and we will see you on the next one.